Hey guys, my name is Matumio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, I realize that many of you already know this, but if you would like to submit your own question that can be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a YouTube message. The first question for today comes from Brandon, and it is, what do you think about adding in custom field upgrades in Battlefield 4? Like having grenades, ammo, flak, longer spotting. I think it would add a better diversity to the game instead of everyone running offensive for the ammo upgrade. So I'm definitely on board with this. I've never really been all that impressed with the field upgrade paths that DICE kind of landed on. I understood what they were going for. They wanted to make it so that each field upgrade tree had its strengths and weaknesses, and one didn't feel more powerful than the other, and I respect that, but at the same time, I don't want to say they failed miserably, but like you said, most people are just gravitating on over to the offensive tree because it does give you ammo, at least fairly quickly. It's the second one that you unlock, and so people don't like to rely on ammo crates because there's a lot of support players out there that just don't give it out, and so to have that as one of your field upgrades is very, very valuable, and so people are gravitating towards it. And so I have a feeling that if they just made it so that you could create your own custom trees, your own loadouts with the different specializations that were in the game, while yes, there would be a popular build and a lot of people would gravitate towards certain builds, at the same time, one of the things that DICE has really advocated is that you can play the game the way that you want to, and if there is a certain type of playstyle that you enjoy, then you're going to be able to do so. And I'm not saying that the current field upgrade paths don't allow you to do that. I just think that it would fit more of that design philosophy of allowing you to customize, customize the game to its fullest and exactly how you want to play it. And the way that things are right now, you can't do that as well. And so I personally would love if DICE decided to go down this route. I think it would be a benefit for the community in general. You could come up with some very creative builds and builds that would really suit you and the way that you want to play. So yes, I am completely on board. The next question comes from Andrew, and it is, what if you could kill dead enemies on the ground to finish them and then they could no longer be revived? So I get a lot of questions along these same lines. A lot of people like the idea of maybe making it so that if you get headshotted by a bolt-action rifle or just headshotted in general, you can't get revived. Maybe make it so that you can't be revived if you get hit by a tank shell, a grenade, just to kind of make the game feel a little bit more realistic, or just to make it so that there's incentive to use other gadgets, or to make it a little bit more skill-based so that you are rewarded for those skill shots. And I know that's very appealing to some people, but I've never heard this suggestion before, and I'm not exactly sure what you mean by finishing them. Do you have to knife them? Do you have to shoot at the dead body on the ground? Are you supposed to go through some sort of animation? And that's kind of what I'm assuming you mean. And if that is the case, I honestly believe that that would just be kind of a useless feature. Like, maybe every once in a while it may be kind of helpful. Like, if you get into a really tight situation, there are a lot of guys swarming you, you take out one of them, but instead of trying to kill everyone else that's around you, you go for an animation to finish the guy off on the ground so he can't be revived. I guess in that scenario it could be helpful, but honestly, if you're in an engagement and there are a lot of people around you, why are you trying to finish off the guy on the ground? Why don't you just kind of focus your mind and kind of your attention to the people around you and try to take them out? Like, I get where you're coming from. I see the appeal of wanting to have some sort of finishing move in the game where all of your hard work doesn't go to waste. You just killed out, 3 or 4 guys in a room, but then at the last second, a medic kind of rolls in, kills you, and then just revives all of them. I understand how that can be a little frustrating, but what finishing move can you perform that's going to make sure that all of them are dead? Like, do you throw a grenade on their bodies? Doesn't that sound a little bit overpowered? Like, why would we need medics at that point? Wouldn't that nerf defibrillators even more than they already are? So, while I get the appeal, I just don't think that it's needed. I think that this would actually be a pretty substantial nerf to the shock paddles in general, and so I just don't think that DICE is going to do this. The next question comes from the Winky, and it is, would you like to see a return to the Crossbow in Battlefield 4? Absolutely. I love the Xbow back in Battlefield 3. It was easily one of my favorite weapons back in the day, and personally, I am crossing my fingers that they bring it into a future DLC pack, like at least one of the weapons. I mean, I don't know what you guys did, but when I played the Recon, that was my go-to gadget. I did not care if I needed the tugs. I didn't want to use the MAV. The Crossbow was such a versatile little gadget and weapon to use. I just thought it was just the best combination for the recon class. You could use your bolt-action rifles to take people out at a distance, and then if you got into a tight situation where you knew there was going to be a couple enemies, you know, just around the corner, or if they were just being really aggressive on you, where the high-powered rifles just do not perform very well, switch on over to the crossbow, and all of a sudden, the tides have turned as long as you know how to use the weapon. It did require skill. It wasn't the easiest thing in the game to master, but once you kind of got the hang of it, once you started to get used to it, it was just an amazing weapon to have. And so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they bring it back into the game. I would love to have it. I know it wasn't the most popular weapon. I know that some people did get a little frustrated by it and they thought it just didn't fit the Battlefield scene or the Battlefield franchise, but I can look past that just because I love the mechanics that much. The next question comes from Ryan, and it is, I recently got the new China Rising DLC, and I've been playing a lot of Air Superiority, and I was thinking, how would you feel about a similar game type, but with tanks or just land vehicles instead? It would kind of like be a mini version of World of Tanks. So it kind of sounds like you haven't played Battlefield 3 or you didn't purchase the Armored Kill DLC that came along with it, because what you're describing is tank superiority, where each side had a ridiculous amount of tanks and then they all kind of converged in the center where there was one capture point, and your objective was, well, to kill everyone but hold on to the central objective for as long as you could. And I know that some people really enjoyed this game mode. They enjoy tank combat, and every once in a while I like to kind of dabble on in there, and I would join those modes every once in a while. But it didn't seem like that game mode in particular was the most popular. It didn't last very long. A lot of people just kind of moved back on over to Conquest or Rush when they played Battlefield 3. And so I'm not really sure if they are going to bring this type of game mode back. They may make some tweaks here and there to try to make it a little bit more appealing, and they've already illustrated that they are willing to bring back game modes that weren't very popular. Air Superiority, I know that you are really enjoying it right now, but it was not popular in Battlefield 3. It was kind of a disaster. No one played it after a couple of weeks because it just wasn't all that exciting. And so it's definitely possible, but personally, I would kind of like them to focus on other game modes, or at least tweak tank superiority significantly to make it a little bit more exciting. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see what DICE decides on. But yeah, guys, that is it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a YouTube message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.